We're talking about Apple claiming utterly implausible customer satisfaction. The original source here is from perfectrec.com, a site that I actually wasn't aware of, but they kind of, you just click on a category and then you enter what you care about and they like recommend a phone. Or a laptop or a TV, sort of based on if you say camera quality or battery life or cost is the most important factor for you. Anyway, kind of cool site. And Mr. Nowinski here actually wrote up a pretty good article. I read this a little bit earlier and outlines how Apple's claim that they have a 99% satisfaction rate among iPhone customers raises a lot of questions. So in a May earnings call, Apple claimed a 99% satisfaction rate for the iPhone 14. And this was according to a third-party research firm. But here's the thing. Apple has made a similar claim in every single earnings call for the past 7 years. Even going as far as to when they had changed the executive who was delivering the line, using the exact same wording at one point. But the problem is that 99% is higher than the number of people who claim to like ice cream or dogs. Okay, dogs, fine, whatever, but...
Yeah, there's some I love dogs. There's some stuff going on with dogs though, but ice cream, like, wow.
According to...
You got some lactose intolerant people.
According to economist Joe Golden, even if
Vegans.
every single person actually loved their iPhone, it would still be nearly impossible to find near unanimous satisfaction using traditional survey methods. A few percent of people just won't understand the question or will give the wrong response by mistake.
Or on purpose, just to be a jerk. That's totally a thing.
What's curious is that looking at independent research, Apple does receive an extremely high satisfaction rate at about 80% or so, but it's still way lower than what they're claiming and about on par with the satisfaction rate of a Google phone or a Samsung phone. Furthermore, 6% of users rate the various iPhone 14 models 1 star on Google, so clearly there's a bit of a disconnect here. This isn't in our notes, unfortunately, but if you dig into the article over on Perfect Rec a little bit further, it is the exact same firm that Apple hires every single quarter to conduct this research for them.
They're really happy with the results. Don't fix what ain't broken, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that if what I wanted was to tell my investors about the 99% satisfaction rate with my product, if I had a pollster that was going to give me that satisfaction rate every single time, then I guess I would probably go with that, right? So here's a couple other examples from the article. This is amazing. Even Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad only managed 95% approval in the last election, which was condemned by the UN for being undemocratic. Let me see if we can. Let me see if I can find what the name is of the pollster. Other companies who brag about satisfaction cite much lower numbers. That's key. Okay, 451 Research. And 451 Research apparently just... here we go. Hold on. There's a little bit here where they outline... Oh, yeah. Oh, this is amazing. Okay, here we go. Apple, by contrast, has claimed near universal approval in every investor's call for the last half a decade. And the latest survey of U.S. consumers from 451 Research indicates blah, 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 98%. Okay, so they were a little down in Q4 2022. 98%. Here we go, 98%. 99%. 98%. These are shockingly high numbers, and they use the exact same 451 Research every single time. So who is 451 Research?
I'm looking into that.
So here it is. The findings are based so this is from a 2018 press release from 451 Research. Neither Apple nor 451 Research responded to Perfect Rec's questions. But they said about this particular one, the findings are based on a December 14th to January 22nd survey of 3,568 primarily North American consumers from 451 Research's User Insight Service. From Voice of the Connected User, from their User Insight Service, Voice of the Connected User Landscape, and its leading indicator panel of 25,000 accredited business and technology professionals whose application for inclusion identifies them as having a high wallet share being used for personal technologies and a high readiness to try new products and services. So they're polling only business and technology professionals who spend a ton of money on tech and love trying new products and services.
Do you like tech? Yes.
Do you like spending a lot of money on tech?
Yes.
Do you like it when the tech is immature?
Yes.
Do you like the iPhone? Yeah!
Survey passed.
We got people talking about how this topic is boring. No, this topic is a big deal because when you say things like we have 98% customer satisfaction to your investors, and it's based on obviously flawed polling data from a company that you pay to use obviously flawed polling data, that's actually a huge deal. You actually can't do that. This. No, it's not boring. You probably are just kind of sitting there going, this seems boring. Oh, but wait, that's why this is a huge deal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, I'm not saying the iPhone is bad by any stretch of the imagination. I have personally recommended iPhones to plenty of people. But there's no way that they have 98 to 99% satisfaction. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, why don't we move on to our next topic here? Intel nukes Nooks.
Intel nukes Nooks?
Yeah. I mean, what's a bigger question? Why is Intel nuking the Nooks? Or why was Intel making Nooks for so long?
I was going to say, are you surprised?
I'm a little surprised.
I'm a little surprised they killed it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've been... Yeah. When did they launch the first Nook? It was over 10 years ago, wasn't it? Intel Nook. I'm pretty sure I covered this on NCIX Tech Tips.
Yes. I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure I was there.
Intel's Nook, next unit of computing, January of 2013. This was over 10 years ago. Look at this guy. Ridiculous. Eat a sandwich. Anyway, the point is...
Sorry, what was you? Yeah, so I did this, yeah.
Yeah, this probably would have been shot by you.
Yeah, because they launched it around that time, right?
Yeah, right? And I always got it from a conceptual standpoint. It's pretty cool. They're really small. They're energy efficient. You can kind of mount them anywhere, back of a monitor, in a drawer.
Makes sense for a lot of like business applications.
Under a desk, whatever. Yeah. But the issue is that they use mobile hardware, and depending on the SKU, Intel did or didn't deliver that at a reasonable price in the Nook, and so the pricing often just didn't really make a ton of sense. Sometimes it did, and they actually had a couple really cool products over the years. I forget which Canyon it was, Hades, Devils, whatever, I don't know, I don't remember anymore, but they did that cool one where they collaborated with AMD and used an AMD GPU and an Intel CPU, and it was super skinny, and it had Thunderbolt, so you could use an external GPU if you really wanted to, so you could like upgrade its capabilities down the road.
Yeah, remember that.
But then I'm looking at it going, who has room for a desktop for which the largest component is the monitor and doesn't have room for a computer?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's nobody. There are certainly people who wanted a really small computer. But the gaming Nooks in particular, I'm looking at going, who is the audience for this, where people want to spend that much more to have it realistically not that much smaller. And I shouldn't say not that much smaller because by volume, they were often a lot smaller than what you could build for yourself. The issue is that does the volume matter or does the footprint matter? Like, is this actually bigger on the desk than this? Like, what's bigger? Okay, here, you guys can't see this. Like, what takes up more space, my phone or this water bottle? Right? And so I always just found it not confusing why they existed. They seemed kind of cool, and Intel had the capability to build them, and they were often surprisingly performant for how small they were. But I didn't understand why anyone bought them, other than the budget ones for, like you said, commercial use. Yeah,
I understood
for
commercial use the whole time, and yeah, I never understood anything outside of that.
There's a few comments in the Floatplane chat about what people were using Nooks for.
Okay.
Zio Uni says it was never a desktop replacement for me. It was always like more of an energy efficient home server. Okay, I could see that from
for certain things, sure.
Energy efficiency standpoint.
Its main benefit was its size, though. Really, it's the whole new unit of computing, right? Like it was. The whole point was...
From Intel's perspective, they did talk about the efficiency a lot, though. And a big part of what made it able to be so small was you didn't need a bulky cooler.
Yeah, true.
Another really good comment from Chronofied for truckers, where every cubic centimeter counts. The gaming Nook was amazing with a wall-mounted display and a lapdog. So lapdog was an old Corsair product that was like a keyboard and mouse that you could... Or maybe they still make it. I'm actually not sure. Micah Vogt... I'm going to go with Vogt. Says we use them on the manufacturing floor. The low power ones are great since we just need to run one app. Yeah.
Yeah, but business again, though.
We buy a lot to put on drones and robots. So it sounds like basically Intel is not that interested in being in the commercial, like cheap, disposable commercial PC business. Because from a consumer standpoint, yeah, even the trucking one is only almost a consumer use case. Like if you were to tell me, hey, I need something to put in the cabin of my excavator.
Your long hauler.
Well, no, I just even something else. Like I am only operating. I'm operating in a professional capacity right
now. But that's not necessarily true for truckers because truckers are potentially going to sleep in there.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah, but they're not going to sleep in your. Well, I don't.
But the only reason they're equipping their truck with this thing is because it's a commercial vehicle that they need to spend personal time in.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's in between an actual personal use and a commercial use.
And Intel NUCs are not the only computers of that size.
No.
Right? Yeah.
No, not at all.
So it's not like if anybody's watching who like uses these things to a certain degree, it's not like you have lost your options.
Like what happened to Gigabyte bricks? Okay, this is still a thing apparently. Are these based on current, like reasonably new? Are these based on new specs or like? Yeah, this says new. Ryzen 7000. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and these are very small.
And
VESA mountable.
And they're Ryzen, so they're probably more efficient than the Intel one.
Hey, got them.
Yeah, so it's not like you won't still have options.
Yeah.
Intel is just kind of is not interested in continuing to deal with this. They will support their ecosystem partners to continue Nook innovation and growth, they say.
Yeah,
and they will still fulfill existing orders and continue support for existing Nook systems. Overall, this seems to be part of a trend of Intel offloading side businesses in an attempt to focus on more profitable endeavors. Just 3 months ago, they also stopped selling servers, handing the business over to MyTac. There was an open niche for relatively powerful, compact, and customizable computers back when Intel launched the Nook back in 2013, but it's since become far more competitive, and some observers have criticized Intel for having made the Nook unnecessarily difficult to buy, forcing users to buy from B2B resellers, often at a high markup. So our discussion questions are, why did the Nook line fail? And I think the answer is just that Intel, in order to appease their investors, has to make more margin than makes sense in such a competitive category. And I also just don't really see what they were contributing for the typical consumer. For a business user, for niche use cases, absolutely they were super cool. But one of the reasons we stopped making videos about them a while back is that interest in them plummeted to the point where we just couldn't really get views on videos about them, no matter what we titled it, no matter what we put in the thumbnail. I also think that this last couple of generations was already feeling like a bit of a last hurrah, where they weren't really that small anymore.
Yeah.
Like the last.
That's been the weirdest thing for me is they go into the performance nooks and then they just get almost as big as a small form factor PC, and it's like, nah.
Yeah, the most bizarre one to me is that one where it's a module that has the RAM, NVMe storage, CPU socket, and cooler on it, and then you like slot it into a case or you slot it into a system, and the idea was that you would just like swap in and swap out the whole thing, so it's like an upgradable system for people who don't know how to build a computer. But I'm looking at it going, really? Is there an appetite for people who want to upgrade their computer, but they're not willing to handle a CPU socket or a RAM slot, but they're willing to do this whole ordeal? And apparently there wasn't. Apparently it just didn't make sense. And the bigger issue was the price.
Yeah.
It was not just, if it had been competitive with desktop hardware, sure. Yeah. I think there's a conversation to be had there. But it was laptop hardware, and it was priced like laptop hardware. And I'm sitting here going, if I'm going to pay for a laptop, then I want a fucking laptop. I don't want a desktop.
Give me a screen.
Yeah. I mean, what's the screen cost? Like another $30-$40? Fine, tack it on there. And then I'll throw a battery in it. What's that? Another $30-$40 too? I mean, I'm already spending way too much money. I might as well just have something I can take with me.
If those were optional add-ons in like the configurator as you were checking out, they would be selected like every time. So it's like, if it's at that point, what's the point?